to say big thanks before we begin to the big Rajapat Bitsamjay University and Professor Ekashay Fuiran, then also to Leiki Guitars Thailand, which are great guitars which they provided for this show. Also to Lavishken, distributor of these guitars, then to Cobb Brabender, who also helped us with the equipment, and my friend Wood Cool, who basically organized pretty much all things. So thank you very much again. one of my favorite songs to play. I usually start pretty much every workshop with this one, but tonight I haven't. So just to make sure so I don't skip it, probably everybody knows this song, one of the most beautiful guitar instrumental ballads ever written, in my opinion. Is there any questions now about anything that I can eventually help?
อยากรู้ว่าทุกวันนี้เขายังฝึกอะไรอยู่บ้างศึกษาอะไรอยู่บ้างทั้งที่เขายังที่แบบเก่งระดับนี้แล้วอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับ
Okay, thank you for your question. It's a great question. So it's very important to. It's not actually that much important how much do you practice daily. It's much more important to practice smart, to design the great practice routine for yourself. For example, all of us have a habit or had a habit. When we take a guitar, when we take a guitar and play at home, usually what we play, we just noodle around. So for example, if we have a 1 hour or 2 hour practice, we're gonna take, guitar and we're just gonna do, we're gonna do stuff like that. So literally playing, just fooling around. And that's definitely a bad idea. So definitely you need to make your practice routine as efficient as possible. Now there's no real recipe because everybody has their own skill level. Everybody has their own amount of time available differently. And everybody has their stronger or weaker point. Now that's also one other thing that is very important. Now everybody also have a habit. If they're good at one technique, for example, like alternate picking, whenever they pick guitar, they're gonna play licks that they feel comfortable, that they're in their comfort zone. So if you're good with stuff like if you're good with alternate picking, you will always kind of try to play stuff with alternate picking. And if you're, for example, bad with sweeping, you will always kind of avoid that. And what you would need to do is actually completely opposite. If you're good in one technique, you can leave it a little bit by side, and you can actually focus and spend more time with the things that you are not that good. Whether that is a sweep picking or economy picking, or I don't know, music theory, knowing the modes, knowing the scales, position, and so on. So yeah, that would be, in a nutshell what's happening. I mean, I hope that answers your question at least partially, because I mean, we could talk about this one question literally all night and we don't have that much time. So just I hope that you're kind of happy with the answer. Thank you. Now I'm just going to play one little instrumental from my country, which probably nobody of you ever heard it, because, well, same as me. You know, I just wanted to show you the music of, well, Balkan, which has using a lot of exotic scales. In particular, one that there's some students here of music theory, one that you maybe heard of. It's actually called Balkan Minor. It has actually few titles. Balkan Minor. There's a name, Istrian scale, then Hungarian Minor. Anyway, it's basically how our music from Balkan sounds. So it's pretty exotic. This is not original. It's actually my transcription. So it's basically kind of Balkan traditional music meets, well, kind of shred guitar. Well, let's see how this is going to work. I don't know, does this sound interesting to you? Because you probably, most of you, first time you hear this kind of music. But you can definitely recognize some moves, you know, from the shredders, which I just put inside to be more interesting to, to normal, ordinary people. This was the song that's basically originated from my country, instrumental piece, basically using some exotic scales like a Balkan minor. But as you could probably hear, I also put some of my own influence, or basically not my influence, some influence from the shredder of the 80s, as you can hear. Any questions now, maybe? About a particular scale or something, or whenever I, look at the scales, same with the modes, I always try kind of compare them with more familiar scale. That's actually my way to easily remember them. So when we talk about this scale, for example, Balkan minor. Again, there's a lot of you probably know a lot of different names for different scale all over the world. So maybe you know this scale and know it and some other name. Anyway, scale is basically like this. You can compare it to Dorian mode with raised 4, for example. So. And what's interesting about this scale, basically what it is, it's basically, if you play it in A, if you're in a key of A, collection of notes is exactly the same as an E harmonic minor, but you are in key of A, basically. Whenever I'm learning unfamiliar scale, I always compare it to some that is familiar to me. Okay. So that's just a way that you can easily remember it. That looks, for example, like a Dorian mode with a raised 4. Or if you want like a natural minor with a raised 4 and 6, you know, there's a lot of different things that you can just to make association with the scale. Okay. You know, I never used to learn scales, you know, like a whole point, you know, half point, half step, whole step. No, it's just too confusing. I always, you know, compare it to something that I already previously know. It's just for me easier to remember. Of course, if somebody has another way, good for him. That's you know, individual stuff thing.
Okay, so you said that it's when you play in the key of A, you actually use the notes from E.
Exactly.
Harmonic minor?
E harmonic minor, yes. It's E harmonic minor, but now the difference is about the treatment of these notes. So you shouldn't get in a trap of thinking that E is your root. So basically a trap of playing licks that are made in E minor, which is not going to sound very good. So you need to just translate yourself. It's the same collection of notes, but the context is different. Context is different. So your root is A, not E. That's basically one of the very common scales that used in Balkan music where I'm from. So that's the countries, if you heard, maybe Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and so on. Probably no more like that. But now there's no more ex-Yugoslavia. There's a lot of little small countries instead.
อยากรู้วิธีการปรับซาวด์เขาอะครับว่าปรับยังไงให้มันเล่นสนุกแต่ว่ามันยังคลีนอยู่อะครับ
That's always different. Well, tonight is a little bit hard for me because I'm not playing on my own equipment. I just brought, I just loaded one set of my presets to the camper, so it should be pretty similar. But this is not my guitar, and usually, again, depending on space, depending what I'm playing. But I like to use personally amps JCM 800. I like to use Plexis. I like to use Mesa Boogie Mark IV when I'm using amps. Or when I'm using modelers like Kemper or Fractal Audio, which is lately, I'm usually using the models of those amps. So that's my favorite amps. Without any distortion boost. So basically, whole distortion is coming directly from amp. Maybe just a slight clean boost of signal before that, and usual delay or reverb, again, depending on space. So that's pretty much it. Thank you. Now I want to invite one special guest a great, talented young guitar player from your country, and his name is Nott. You probably all heard about him. I was amazed how great he is at such a young age. So he's going to play for you two of his own instrumental songs, and then we're going to maybe jam together. So let's see. So Nott, where are you? Here you are.
วันนี้ดีใจมากๆเลยที่ได้มาเล่นที่นี่นะครับแล้วก็ดีใจกว่านั้นคืออีกอร์กำลังจะเปิด backing track ให้ผมเล่นนะครับ Yes thank you ก็จริงๆแล้วเนี่ยแรงบันดาลใจในการสร้างเพลงนี้นะครับผมมันคือการที่ผมได้มาที่แถวๆนี้เป็นครั้งแรกนะครับแล้วก็เพลงนี้เนี่ยผมกำลังจะเล่นสดเป็นครั้งแรกที่นี่เช่นกันนะครับก็ผมว่ามันโรแมนติกดีนะก็เพลงนี้มันอาจจะเป็นแรงบันดาลใจที่เกิดมาจากตรงนี้แล้วก็กำลังจะได้เล่นตรงนี้นะครับโอเคครับเพลง first impression นะครับ
เ
Okay, now me and Nott are gonna jam something together, but we never tried this before, not even today on the sound check. So, excuse me if there's some confusion, we're just gonna go with the flow and see what's gonna happen. He actually never heard this track before, so let's see what's gonna happen. Let me start so you can feel the track, see what's happening, and then you can chime in, I will give you a sign. So this is also a little experiment to show you that although we don't understand each other, we're gonna communicate through music, hopefully pretty good. So let's see what's gonna happen. don't have to know same language to understand each other, obviously. I guess so. Anyway, is there anybody else wants maybe to jam along, to try a little bit? Yeah, feel free, please. Huh? Why not? It's not. This is not a competition. Come on. There's no competition in music. Huh? Here's the guy. Look.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, you see, we don't have to speak any language. It's perfectly fine. Any other questions? We are reaching towards the end. We have to finish in some top 15, 20 minutes. So is there any questions anybody have about anything that I can help him with?
My first question. What's your guitar idol, first guitar idol?
Okay.
And how to right hand picking.
Right hand picking. Okay. So, first of all, I think you're probably talking about alternate picking, right? Right? So alternate picking.
Alternate picking ใช่ไหมครับ Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in my experience, people have most issues actually with alternate picking, because a lot of people, when they start playing guitar, if they don't have a teacher immediately or if they don't pay attention, the natural motion is they're gonna start playing economy. So basically, same strokes on each string, right? Down, up, down, down, up, down. Which is nothing wrong with that, but the feel of the playing, the sound, everything is different. And there's a stuff that you can do better in economy picking, but most of the stuff actually is gonna be done better, is gonna sound better with alternate picking. Now, the biggest problem with alternate picking is actually transition from string to string. So basically we have most of the scales that we are playing on guitar is a 3 notes per string scale. And then when we play the scales in any section or anything, if we just play it like an exercise, we always have basically down, up, down, and then up, down, up, right? So down, up. So this is called, when we transition to adjacent string, it's called outside picking, because we are, for example, playing lower string from down and higher from up. And there's also other one. If you start with the upstroke, then last note is going to be up, and then on the higher adjacent string down. So now a good exercise, really good exercise, is to just isolate that problem and basically practice that. So basically isolating a problem, you can design little exercises. You probably heard these kind of exercises a lot of times, but I kind of extend it to be even more complicated. Basically, you just focus on that transition. So you can play something like... But now, so you're focusing on this problem. And now, try this. For example, always try, and this is basically not just this exercise. Whenever you need to solve some problem, technical or something, and you find some exercises either on the internet or somebody show you, always try to come up with some version of yours. So basically try to make a variation of that exercises that's going to fit you, and it's basically going to be kind of your exercise. So never stick to exactly to the exercise that somebody showed you. So this particular exercise, if I remember correctly, I heard it from Paul Gilbert. He does this a lot. So basically this. Now what I did, extended to solve this problem. You can play it like this. You see, there's a lot of time. First time you repeat one time that problem of transition to adjacent string. So then 2 times, then 3 times, and then you finish it with. So you have. For example, and you can do it again opposite. And always trying to find some exercises basically where you can, where you will practice that motion. And you can even go simpler than that. You can do this. Outside picking and then inside. You see, so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Up, down, up, but from higher strings. So first you have outside picking. And then something like that. So basically you can always try to design your own little exercises just to help you solve the problem. I mean, this doesn't have much sense, right? It's just, you know. But it's just designed to solve that problem of inside picking or outside picking. In alternate picking. So transition from string to string, that's what you need to work on. And
at what age did you start playing guitar?
Actually pretty late. I mean, I was like 13. It's not late, but I mean, it would be better if I started when I was 3 or 4. Okay, maybe not that early, but definitely, you know, if you can start earlier, much better, for sure.
Do you think it's too late to start?
Sorry?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
okay. Do you think it's too late to start playing at age of 20 to be successful like you?
No, it's not too late. For example, Chris Rea, you all heard about Chris Rea. I think he started with like 28 or 24, something like that. Wow. And he became one of the most, you know, most well-known and respected guitar players ever. So yeah, this is definitely not late.
Thank you.
And again, it all depends what you want to achieve. If you want to play for hobby, you know, songs and stuff, you know, that you can start anywhere. If you want to, you know, make something more serious, you're going to have to spend some time, you know, practicing. So it all depends basically on the level of your dedication, what you want to achieve. You know, which level you want to achieve and what you want to do with this. But it's definitely never too late. Absolutely.
So the question is, he wants to know how do you find your motivation, or how do you keep yourself motivated for practicing and like creating music?
Yeah, it's there's no recipe, but it's you know, when you're doing this for a living, even when there's no inspiration, you will have to find it. So, but again, when you do this for a living, when you're every day connected with music, I mean, not necessarily practicing guitar, doing arrangements for other people, making music. I also make music, you know, for trailers, for stuff like that, you know, like I've been trying to do some cinematic music which doesn't have anything to do with guitar. So you always find some inspiration there, and then you can apply it on guitar because it's just the music. It doesn't have to be, you know, you can always find inspiration in, and especially try to find different kind of, you know, listen to different styles, even if you don't like them. You know, listen to jazz, listen to country, listen to classical music. I mean, all of us guitar players who was raised on the scene of the 80s, we all very much like classical music. I also have a master's degree in classical music, so I really understand and I love, regardless of the scene of the 80s, I really like Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, Vivaldi, Rachmaninoff, Chopin. They are like my heroes as well.
You said something about the guitarist who started playing quite late when this,
Yes, his name is Chris Rea. You probably know that song, it's called Road to Hell. You never heard that song?
not personally, but maybe other
Yeah,
people.
probably
don't.
somebody else. Anyway, Chris Rea.
Chris Rea.
Chrisrea.
R-E-A.
You can check him out. Very famous guitarist. Also, the songwriter, very famous songwriter. He has these songs like Road to Hell, On the Beach, and stuff like that. So yeah, and he started very late. I'm not sure, 24 or 28, something like that. Maybe even 30s.
Okay.
You have to Google it. Really, don't remember.
How did you balance between music theory and guitar skill when you practice every day?
Yeah, to be honest, I have a master's degree in music theory and composition, but I never studied guitar on the faculty, on university. I was just studying that theory. So yeah, it wasn't easy because you have to, you know, write a lot of science papers, solving, you know, little musical riddles, puzzles and stuff. But it really helped, you know, in guitar to understand the harmony, to understand, you know, stuff about guitar. Because, for example, one of the great things that helped me when I joined, you know, enrolled in music school was, you know, how to understand modes, which is really something that still people struggle, not because it's hard, you know, modes, just because there's so many ways people trying to explain them, and some of them can be confusing. So again, maybe I should close with this little thing. If somebody is interested, how to enrich your playing. So in order to avoid only playing, you know, in minor, major, and the pentatonic, what you can do is try to learn the modes and try to learn how to use them. Now, there's a lot of... so I will actually try the way that I always taught my students how to figure out modes. It's, in my opinion, how I figure it out. It's, my opinion, one of the easiest. So first, you have 7 modes. From those 7, you can... 3 you already... actually, 2 you already know. 1 you don't need. So, Ionian mode is same as the natural major, and the Aeolian mode is same as natural minor. Now, there's one more that you basically... So, 2 you already know. There's one more called Locrian, which is basically made on the... You can form it on the 7th degree of the major scale. And we are not using that mode in... Well, I wouldn't say in tonal music, but yes. Basically, whole classical period until the modern music of 20th century when the Stravinsky and all these other guys, Philip Glass, came. Nobody used the Locrian mode. And still, in the pop, rock, even jazz music, you will rarely find anybody using Locrian mode. So Locrian you can skip for now. You are left with the 4. So you are left with the 4 modes. 2 of them has a bass in minor, and 2 of them has a bass in major. Now, modes are not same as minor major. Actually, they were before minor major. I'm not going to go into this. But you can, again, you can compare them just to remember, just to try to easily remember their structure. You can compare the 2 minor modes with the natural minor scale and 2 major modes with natural major. With every of these modes is going to have this one change, one little characteristic note, which is not present in either minor or major. So very simply, if we are in a key of A, and we have A natural minor, which, well, everybody who wants to learn mode already probably knows A minor, right? You have Dorian and Phrygian mode. So basically, again, they are not the same as minor. I'm just comparing them to be easy to figure them out. So basically you can say that A Dorian mode is like a natural minor with a raised sixth. And you can say also that Phrygian mode is like a natural minor with a flattened second. And same way goes for the two other major modes. Basically you have Mixolydian mode, which is like a natural major with a flattened 7. And you have a Lydian mode, which is like a natural major with a raised 4. So basically, that's your formula. Again, the key word here is looks like, just looks like theoretically. They're not the same scale and they have a different treatment, of course. They're going to have different chord progression and everything. So that's the easy way to remember these scales. And to think through them like that is better because you need to be aware of the root. Other way of looking at the modes is, you know, like if somebody said, okay, we have C major on the first degree. Now said a Dorian mode is the second degree of major scale. True. But then people don't understand. They have second degree of the major scale and they are playing. But they still think of it as a second degree of major scale. First of all, this is not a major mode. Second of all, there's no any degree. We are in the key of D when we're playing D Dorian. Now, of course, chord progression is going to be different. We're not going to play in that chord progression. There's no G minor. Our fourth is going to be major because we have that raised 6. So people get confused. You tell them, you know, oh, D, it's a Dorian mode is second degree of major scale. Yes, theoretically. But it's not a major scale, and there's no second degree. We are in the key of D. That's our root. So that's, in my opinion, it's better to explain like this. Like a D minor, but with a raised 6. Okay. And to wrap it up, so basically, to learn modes, best way to learn is try to learn the sound of each mode. So, how to do it? One of the easiest way for me was always just to play the drone. For example, take this key of A, and go through all modes, play improvisation, them over drone note. So you can hear without any minor and major, your scale and your playing is going to form the mode. I'm just going to demonstrate quickly, okay? Then you can translate. Or you can translate now, please. So I'm going to play a drone and just go quickly through 4 modes. You can see just how one note of a difference can make completely different atmosphere and picture of the melody or musical piece. Okay, so first natural minor. That will be natural minor. Now, if we do the Dorian, just change one note, raise that 6. You will hear the atmosphere.
And even Dorian นะครับ
If we go Phrygian, we get completely different sound. Raise it, flattening second, like a mystical more.
เป็นฟริเจียนที่เอาโน้ตตัวที่2 flat ลงมานะครับ
Now look, if we go to Mixolydian, we get completely, again, different story. Major, just with the flattened, first natural major.
Natural major ก่อนนะครับ
Now Mixolydian.
Mixolydian
And last one, Lydian, which is, again, like a natural, but with a raised 4. So, as you can see, what one little note, when you change in scale, can make from whole atmosphere, whole melody, whole musical piece. Now, of course, in order to be able to play in modes, you have to design your chord progression to be modal chord progression. I think we have to finish. We are already 5 minutes above this. So thank you very much, everybody, very much for coming. I hope that you learn at least something or enjoy it. It's really short time to do any serious work in terms of masterclass, but at least we had a lot of fun. Hopefully you had as well.